Um, so before I can remember, I was an athlete. That was always my title. That was what people referred to me as, which was it was good, but it was also, you know, eh. I've always been like the figure skater, the gymnast, the whatever. It was never just Jamie, you are the athlete. And like that was my entire that's what everyone called me. They're like, "Oh, you're Jamie. You do this, right? You do gymnastics, right? You do figure skating." Yeah, yeah, that's me. So from the age of like 6 to 18 is when I was training. And that was about 16 to 20 hours a week of gymnastics. Then there was, I don't know, then there was like 5 hours on top of that as skating. Then there was another 5 hours of ballet. And then there was diving and swimming and soccer, basketball. Like I played every sport out there that anyone can imagine. Like anytime someone would be like, "Oh, what sports do you play?" Because you ask kids that, right? What sports do you play? My answer was always like, "How long do you have?" Because I'm just gonna tell you, I play every sport out there, um, which was kind of cool in a way. Because then whenever you pick up a ball or something and play soccer, like I would know what to do. I knew exactly what I was doing. But then it was also so frustrating because that's all I did. Like that's literally all I did. I only played sports, and then I had friends from sports who are my bestest of friends today. But yeah, they're all of my friends are only from sports, which is really awesome. But it's just funny that that's how that turned out. Like I didn't make friends from anywhere else. Like I never made friends from school. I never made friends from like college really, who are like my closest friends. But yeah, obviously playing so many sports, that's takes up a lot of time. And like I said, I'm doing almost 20 hours a week of gymnastics, then 5 of skating, 5 of ballet, give or take. I don't remember the actual hours anymore because it honestly was such a blur. So I don't remember a lot of it, honestly. But yeah, so obviously, I didn't really have time for things like school. I barely had time to see friends. I remember when I was really young, like the only time I could have sleepovers with my friends was during the Christmas holidays or during the summer holidays from school because I just didn't have time like on a weekend or anything like that. Um, and yeah, it definitely took a toll, not so much with my friends because they were also in sports, so they kind of understood it. Um, Even though we all agreed that it was too much that I was doing. And it wasn't really my choice. For lack of better words, it was forced upon me, but we can't dwell on the past. When I was doing sports and whatnot, we did find out when I was younger that I was dyslexic, but I was also ADHD, so attention deficit disorder, for anyone who doesn't know. Um, and so because of that, my pediatrician put me on Adderall, which for those who don't know what Adderall is, it helps you focus, which is great. Um, and then over, I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 years, we kept upping the dose because your body gets used to it, and then they need to up the dose, and then you get used to it, and you gotta up the dose. And so I was on about, I think, 20 milligrams of Adderall, and like me saying that, I'm not even sure if that was a bad thing. I'm not sure if that was a good thing. I don't know. I was put on that at 13. I think it was 13. And then I think I was on that until I was 16, but I'm not sure. Again, like I said, my memory from then is very mixed up. So that's my guess. But yeah, so Adderall, it's great for focusing, but the problem is too is that you hyper focus on things. So I would find that I could only focus. It almost like made the ADHD worse because then I could only focus on one thing at a time. I was like, I can't focus on 3 different things. I need to be doing this and then this and then this, but we can't mix them. Um, but yeah, so the thing with Adderall as well is that it is a appetite suppressant. So obviously and it's different for everyone obviously, but for me, I felt like I didn't need to eat, and I just forgot about it. Like, food was such a back thought that I was like, oh yeah, I guess I should do that today. Like, I would eat breakfast, and then I'd go to school, and I would like kind of nibble at my lunch, and I would look at it and be like, this looks so good, but I just don't want it. Like, I just didn't want it at all. And then I would go to gymnastics, and we would have break, and then we could have a snack and like dinner and whatnot. And again, I would just like nibble at it. Sometimes I would eat the whole thing, and that would be great. But then sometimes I would just be like, I'm not hungry. Like, I do not want this. And then I would get home and try and have dinner. And then sometimes I would actually eat the whole dinner. And then sometimes it would just be like, no, I don't want this. And then because of that, I feel like what happened is once I got off the Adderall in like end of high school, my body was so much just like, I need food because you didn't feed me for so long. I just need food. So I just indulged. I didn't think about it even. Like, food was never a touchy subject with me. I was very much just like, oh yeah, I'll eat when I'm hungry. But then on Adderall, I was never hungry. And then when I got to high school, I was starving all of a sudden, or like end of high school. But yeah, starving. I always needed food. I was always hungry, always snacking. Great. But because I was training so much, that was fine. Like, it's not gonna change your body. You're not gonna gain a ridiculous amount of weight. Like, I still had abs in grade 11 and kind of grade 12. Like, I was fit looking at least. But so I wasn't feeding my body what it needed to do all the sports I was doing, and it did get really difficult for me. A lot of injuries were coming through gymnastics. Back injuries, hip injuries. Yeah, I remember my grade 12 year was just a year full of injuries. Like, I would get injured and then I would rest, heal, and get injured again, like the next day at training. It was just so frustrating. That year was just a really big struggle. And then I quit at the end of grade 12, and that was a really hard thing because I had always been like the athlete. And then when I quit gymnastics, and then I had quit skating, I think the year before, 2 years before, and ballet and everything. So I was done. Gymnastics was the last thing I quit. I was completely done training. And then all of a sudden it was just like, okay, who am I now? Like, what do I do? And this is at the end of grade 12 when everyone else has got their life figured out, and they're like, oh, I'm going to this university, I'm going to study this, I'm going to become this. And I was just sitting there like, what do I do? What, was I supposed to be like figuring that out during like high school? Was I supposed to be researching like all this stuff? I didn't even know I was supposed to be doing that. I think also going back to training is, and this carries over into everyday now life, is that as an athlete, and not that I was an elite or Olympic athlete, like I was nothing like that. I was just your average kid who was doing competitive sports, yes, but I was never really, really good. The thing with that is that I noticed that no one teaches you. Like, I never had a coach or a parent or anyone explain the importance of what you were eating. They never explained the importance of diet and nutrition. It was never explained, and I think that that's such a disservice to so many athletes, because I know from research that even like Olympic athletes, no one tells them that they need to be eating these things. And I feel like everyone who comes out of like a competitive sport, not just gymnastics, but any sport, they come out of them and they're just like, okay, so how do I eat? How do I work out? How do I function now? Like, it's not just the like, oh, what do I do with myself now? It's like, how do I eat? It's almost like a shock to the system once you quit those things. Your body, the whole time you're doing sports, is just trying to keep up with you. It's trying so hard to keep up with you. And I think that also shows in puberty and stuff like that. Like, me, myself, I didn't have an actual period until I was 17, because like, again, if you're doing 3 competitive sports from the age of about 6 until you're almost 18. So it was very strange to me, like all my friends getting a period and they would all talk about it. And I was just there like, what? Like, I always felt like I was missing out on something in life, whether that was school wise or like, yeah, puberty wise. Yeah, It was just very awkward. And I remember my body was so exhausted. It was so tired that I, not even jokingly, lay in bed for 2 weeks straight. The only thing I would get up to do is like go shower and go to the bathroom and go get food from the grocery store. And I didn't get crazy unhealthy food, but I didn't get healthy food either. But I just lay there and I binge watched like so many shows. I had never had that time in my life. No one had ever allowed me to sit and watch TV uninterrupted. Like I had never had that experience. So I was like, I'm gonna take advantage. I'm gonna do this. And 2 weeks later, I was like, maybe I should do something else. This is getting kind of boring. So after I quit gymnastics and I lay in bed for 2 weeks, I did start at college. We ate a lot of fast food. And obviously, you know, I wasn't training anything. I wasn't even working out because before I had just assumed, oh, my body will just burn it off like it normally used to, right? Yeah, it'll just burn it off. And then things piled up quickly. So I would say, I don't know the numbers to be perfectly honest, because I was so in denial of gaining any weight that I was like, oh, I'm just bloated. We're all good here. Don't worry about it. And then like clothes weren't fitting and I was like, well, that's weird. And I don't know why that's happening. Like so in denial. And I think it took a good 2 years, year and a half for me to finally be like, no, you're not bloated. the narrative had changed. Because my whole life, people always commented on my body, which was really weird to me. But people always, like adults in my life, would always be like, oh, you're so fit, blah, blah, blah. You have abs, wow, you're so strong. And then all of a sudden it was just like, are you okay? Like, and I know no one meant any harm, but the way things were phrased to me was not kind, I would say. It was very much like, you don't look so good. You should probably lose some weight. Are you really gonna eat all that? And so I finally was like honest with myself and took time to look in the mirror. It had gone from like, oh, you should eat more, you need to be bigger, you're too small, blah, 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 to like, you're too big, you need to stop eating, whoa, that's not pretty. And it was very much like a, what? I thought I wasn't eating enough, now you're saying I'm eating too much. What's happening here? And so that's when I really had to be so honest with myself and I used to not look in mirrors, which is weird, because, you know, my friend and I were having this conversation that growing up as dancers where you're constantly looking in the mirror, and I still do this to this day, but I cannot walk past a mirror without looking at myself in the mirror. Whether it's in a judgmental way or not, it's still something that me and her both do every time. And it's so funny because we'll walk together and we'll both just notice each other in the mirror, just go, okay, and keep walking. And it's not in a bad way all the time, and definitely isn't now, but it used to be in a really bad. Every time we would walk past a mirror, I'd just be like, ooh, that's not pretty. Which was sad now that I think about it, but we've obviously moved past that, which is really nice. So after college was when I decided, you know, I'm gonna take my health seriously and my fitness seriously, because that had always been something in the past that had brought me so much joy. And it's not that I wanted to go back to that, which there were a lot of times that I did want to go back. I was like, oh, I'll just go back to gymnastics and it'll fix all my problems. I was happier when I was doing gymnastics, or I was happier when I was doing figure skating. Like, it'll fix all my problems. And I had to really be honest with myself and tell myself, no, that's not gonna fix it. Like, going backwards isn't gonna fix anything, because then you'll still have those problems. They'll just be waiting for you in the future. So I was like, no, you need to take this step forward and find a different way to go about this. And so I tried going to the gym and I tried doing like cardio and like push-ups, and I didn't know what I was doing, which is so strange because like in gymnastics you do so much conditioning and so much like strength training, and I didn't know what to do anymore. I was like, how do I even do this? Like, I went on YouTube and I started researching like weight loss and stuff like that, and that led me down a not wonderful path. filled with moments where I was being really, really OCD with tracking what I was eating, and I definitely was hitting points where I was hitting, like, my goal in life was to eat like 1,200 calories or less, and that was my goal for like not a year but a couple months. But what I was doing was really quite dangerous, and that was just not a wonderful part of my life. But I kept going with like YouTube and trying to find better ways, because I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't stop it. So I went on YouTube and I was trying to research more, like, okay, what can I do? I want to do this in a healthier way, because that's not healthy at all. I found people on YouTube like Mari Llewellyn, Whitney Simmons, Libby Christensen, Sav Wright, and they all talk about, and you know, so many other like athletes and YouTubers who talk about this stuff, and they all did weightlifting and they were super strong and like they ate right, but they also ate what they wanted when they wanted. And I was like, yes, that is the life I want to live. I want to live like that. I want to be able to eat whatever I want, not like crazy, but like and enjoy eating the like healthier foods. And I want to enjoy going to the gym, because I was seeing one of my friends go to the gym all the time, and I was just like, man, that looks so fun. So I started doing Mari's workouts. I got her guides and everything, and I started doing her workouts, and they were so good. Like, I saw results, like crazy results in the first like 3 weeks, and I was just like, oh my gosh, whole new realm. I love going to the gym. I was waking up at like 5 a.m. every day, because that's when worked with my work schedule. I was like, nope, we're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be good. And so I was going to the gym at 5 a.m. I was eating right. My calories were still restricted at that time, but I was very aware that I was in the process of getting to more calories and stuff. And I'm really happy to now say that I no longer track my calories at all, and that took me a 2-year process. And it's different for everyone. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, don't worry, in 2 years, if this is what you're doing, you'll be good to go. Like, no, it's a whole process. But yeah, so I still do her workouts because they're awesome, and I feel so strong in doing weightlifting workouts, and I make up some of my own now, and it's just so much fun to see your body transform. At least for me, I love seeing my body transform and become so much stronger. And because of all my injuries, especially my back injuries, my core was always something that was very loose, because I couldn't train things properly anymore when I was doing gym. And now I'm like, I figured out ways to train my core so that my back is stronger, so my back isn't hurting all the time, and like how to work with my hip so that my hip isn't hurting all the time. And like, I still go to things like physio and stuff like that, of course, because I think that that's important. But it's just been so nice to see like my brain and like my mentality of everything transform. Oh, I do also want to say, and like this is making me teary just thinking about it, is because for so long, like, I wouldn't eat before a photo shoot, and today was the first day I ate before a photo shoot, and it was like the craziest thing ever. I was so proud of myself, and yeah, it was a really good moment, and I love how the photos turned out, even because I used to not like being bloated for photos or whatever, especially if I was gonna like pose in like a bathing suit or like less clothing that was less covering. But today, yeah, I ate before the photo shoot, and I ate during the photo shoot, and I'm very proud to say that. I think so many people struggle with these types of things, and it's something that isn't talked about enough, and I really wish we would open the dialogue more, especially for people, and like from my personal experience, people who are athletes or former athletes. I listened to so many conversations of girls who are younger than me, and just the way that they talk about themselves, and I get so many messages daily about, you know, people's views on their body and themselves, And I just want everyone to just be so happy with their body, because at the end of the day, your body is the thing that's gonna carry you through life. And I hope people appreciate their body, because I've been on both sides, and I know what it feels like to appreciate your body every single day and appreciate like what your body can do for you. It's not just about the looks. It's not just about you being skinnier than somebody else or you being stronger than somebody else. It's so much more than that, and it's so much more like the mental side of everything. But so that's why this project is so near and dear to my heart. I think that's all I need to say.